Welcome new listeners and returning listeners to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you for the beginning of something big. Yes, Ironheart drops on us today/tonight where I'm listening. You will be listening at the break of dawn at 5 a.m. when this episode releases, I'm assuming. Going forward, every episode, Wednesdays and Fridays, we will be posting at 5 a.m. That's the only time we'll release going forward, just to keep things more grounded and that we all don't get confused, because all the different times, who needs them? Anyway, this was a fun time covering this first episode. We're not going to break down every episode tonight. We're doing it day by day. So tomorrow you can listen to my after show for the second, and then the day after on Friday you can listen to the third. That's just a way I like to pace myself. I'd like to give each episode its turn. For example, the cliffhanger in this episode, definitely something to linger on and think on. I'm not suggesting anyone else does that, and I mean, maybe most of you already did watch all three, but you'll get my original take without any other influence, and then I will go on and see what Screen Crush has to say, like Ryan Airy and all that. And I don't know. I just got to say, I really did enjoy this episode. And Riri Williams is a fun character, and she's complex. And I actually do feel like her introduction in Wakanda Forever was great, because we already know her a little bit. But right out the gate, we're getting to know a lot more about her. So a slightly ominous, dreamlike cold open. It sets the tone of the kind of the show, if you ask me. This isn't just tech and suits. This is personal. And the overall vibe, though, for the whole show, I'd say is sharp, grounded, and very Riri. And I'm invested in that. I think, again, like, I do see similarities between her and Tony Stark. And the fact that she got granted, this giant grant from him to work on whatever she wanted, which was more Iron Man suits. She wants to further his legacy. We meet her through a video she's making with her friend at the beginning of the episode. Confident, focused, full of dreams. I want to be the greatest of my generation is something that says. She draws clear parallels to Tony Stark, even name dropping him, Mr. Stark. Like, she met him. Did she meet him? Maybe she was like in that scene of Iron Man at the beginning of Civil War, granting everyone their grants, and he's like, let's break some eggs. Oh man, I miss Iron Man. But Ironheart is showing some promise. What do you think? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Don't spoil the last two episodes for me. What are your thoughts on the first one? And after Friday, you can spoil anything, because I will have all the episodes out and done. What do you think of this way? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. For me, I think it's great covering episode by episode and giving a little time for each episode to breathe. And even if you watch them fast, no judgment, you get to come back here and kind of relive them and just get excited about the final three. We only get 2 weeks of this. So if this works out, it's most likely they're going to be my format for next week as well. You know, I actually am remembering this, that Jim Rash, the guy from Community, he's in this and he's her teacher. But what I'm now remembering is that he's totally the guy that accepts the grant from Tony in that scene I was just talking about in Civil War. So I think that was MIT. You know what? Sorry, some of that slips my memory, but I think that's very important if that's kind of how she got her start, and then end with Jim Rash, Community's Dean. We love the Dean. If you haven't seen the show Community, just go find it and watch it. One of the funniest shows of our time. I mean, my time. I suppose that was like over 10 years ago now. Growing up. It's great. I'm grateful to be here. So yeah, he's in a sling courtesy of Riri. So she wants to keep building her suit and improving on it, and she fights to keep her grant, but promising to change the world. But the board isn't impressed. Too many discipline hearings she's had, and she's not even chasing a real degree. And she gets accused by Jim Rash, I don't know the character's name, her teacher, of dishonoring Tony Stark's legacy. So she's expelled, and it's a gut punch. She's very thrown by it, as I would be too. She is the alternate Iron Man in that she has none of the let's say money. I don't know, wealth that Tony had to just, but he didn't get there by just clicking his fingers. No pun intended. His character completely turned around because of something she went through, which I think is what Riri is going through right now. Her parallel, her trauma, her reason for wanting to be a hero. I think it's all tied up in the memory flashback sequence we see in the beginning, even before the cold, like it's a cold open. I don't get many of those in Marvel, not many, but this one we got a cold open. Maybe it'll be the kind of show that does that for every episode, but I don't think so. But it was there to definitely show us they're telling us ominously about her good memories. And what it seems like, I'll just say it before I go down my notes, we'll get here again, but it was her dad and her friend. It seems like they got attacked or something. We don't know. We're still waiting to find that out. The minute she's expelled, she's told to grab her things, right? And she grabs her iron gauntlet, her boots from the lab, and as she's walking out, she just puts on her whole iron suit with her grant money, the one that she made with her grant money. And the suit up moment, I thought it was incredible. She flies for the first time, raw, chaotic, ironic, because it's not the best tech system she has yet. But we do get the HUD view, just like Tony. But Chicago is in the background of Iron Man, Iron Woman, Ironheart, flying around. And, sweet home, Chicago. Where have you been in the MCU? I think Chicago may be the safest city. There have been no superhero fights there. I would be living here in the MCU as well. If it, or maybe there's, a secret group of heroes that operate around here that just aren't being talked about. One being Mr. Honest. Suit me up. I'm ready for this. Let's go. Another reminder of, I'm going to keep comparing her to Tony Stark because, well, she's Ironheart. Her suit's falling apart midair, and she crashes literally in the street, creating cracks on the ground that form the word Ironheart. I like that. She was one of the letters. I don't remember which one. She has what I best describe as a walk of shame through her neighborhood with kids teasing her. Riri is so real, and I think we're going to get a lot more emotional moments from her from what I've seen in this episode. And I think the great, phenomenal actress playing her is very capable of it. I really hope the rest of the episodes are kind of in gear to be what this seems to be setting up. And I'm on board for this. I just always question why they release certain things certain ways, like 3 episodes. Maybe the third episode is probably a giant cliffhanger in that of itself, I'm going to guess. And it's a fuller story. And each half of the show is probably maybe having its own arc, or who knows. There's magical elements at play here. They're not super touched upon just yet, but we see little hints of them. She comes home to a party and her mom hugs her. The contrast is beautiful. One woman criticizes the suit as a death trap. Riri brushes it off. She goes for a walk with a friend down Lake Michigan later. Chicago pride. We learn that she doesn't want to be Tony. She wants to improve on him. She's working from scraps like him, but with less privilege. And I think it could be misinterpreted by Ultimate Super Iron Man fans. Oh, she wants to be better than Iron Man? Oh, she's full of herself. No, it's just to show the drive of this character, and actually to literally compare herself to Iron Man, like, makes her a lot like Tony. He's her inspiration. It's not like she's her inspiration and reason. So I think she wants to honor his legacy by pushing it forward, because that's something he always would have done. But does she know he was working with nanoparticles on the last suit? Did she ever get to see that last suit of his? Like, was that public? Because she is so far from using making nanotech stuff. But that's why I kind of like this story. It's kind of an underdog Iron Man tale, it seems. Let's talk a little bit about Natalie, all this guilt and foreshadowing. Riri references her dad, a buried memory, and a friend mentions that night, so like it's referenced, and we see a little bit of that night. The flashbacks tease a traumatic moment involving Natalie, the girl from the cold open, and Riri's father. The guilt, something I feel guilty for literally no reason sometimes. Like the feeling of guilt, it's like I'm broken in that way, but the guilt when it's more, it's just clearly a core theme in this show. Let's talk about a little bit about the hood and this job offer. Warehouse break-in. Okay, we meet a new crew, and one of them guys is Eric Andre. I think his name is Rampage, and finally we meet the Hood. He brings magic into Riri's tech world. Now, that's the concept, obviously. We don't see too much magic. When she crashes her suit, I think she might have done that twice in the episode. Later, she runs into one of the thugs, and he pays for her parts at the store to rebuild her suit after she fell. So she's recruited to meet the Hood. And there's this elevator trap thing that they have, and I don't think this is nice at all, but it kind of like it kind of takes a little bit of like the worry away when you cut to the group with the Hood beyond the computer, and they're all watching her and like betting on how fast she'll get out. And it's an intense plus hilarious scene. He tempts her with tools, respect, and money. She says she doesn't want to hurt people, but she does take the offer after inevitably breaking out of the elevator and beating Eric Andre's time. Let's talk about the AI, all right? And this suit upgrade that she wants to do, bigger, better than Iron Man, and a cliffhanger. It's been a decently sized amount of events in this one. There's like a great montage of Riri building her suit. Low power, 4-hour estimate. So she is building, and then she falls asleep with these receptors she puts on her head. I don't know what these things do or what they're for. Is she trying to use them so she can be like completely intertwined with the suit? She doesn't have to call out commands. She doesn't have to press buttons. She could just think, fire a rocket, and she fires a rocket. I'm wondering. And I'm also wondering if her falling asleep with that thing on her head did anything to make her friend walk in the room, who supposedly maybe is dead. What we are kind of led to believe. We don't really know. But this does make her faint at the end of the episode. And she, this is before this, there's flashbacks of Natalie, and the grief is starting to mount. And the Hood opens a safe, and inside is a glowing magical cloak. It's not glowing. It's really more just like centerpiece, kind of like at the center of the room, like with like a little like a light shining down. That's how I remember it. There's these like veins coming out of his back, but I don't know if those veins are completely tattooed or if he's trying to tattoo over veins coming out of his back. I don't know. I'm curious to see and learn more about the Hood. This is a very curious character, but they did use him in some of the advertisements because I don't know, someone might have called out that this show isn't that bad. Maybe not Marvel. Marvel doesn't make terrible things every single thing, and personally that's a little bit of an insult to me because I really do like most of what Marvel does, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. You're not going to be shut down here for feeling the opposite of that way. I would just ask you not to listen out of spite of me. Is Natalie alive? What happened? A hallucination? An AI? What happened to Natalie? Is she here, or is Riri having a complete hallucination already at the beginning of the second episode? Is this going to lead into us learning the full past early on? Did maybe Nat, that reminds me of Black Widow. Please come back, Scarlett Johansson. We miss you. I can't say we don't need you. Of course we need you. But the real cliffhanger here is what the heck went down between Natalie, her dad, and her on that one night a few years ago. What happened? So Chicago is the central part of this show. Like, it's the living, breathing city of Chicago. I can tell they're using a lot of it, and that's huge. We never get to see Chicago in the MCU, so it has a home here with Ironheart. And in my opinion, that gives it like a third thumbs up from me on this first episode. Riri, as a grounded, vulnerable tech genius, gives us a real next-gen Iron Man story. So the Hood, he's going to be mixing magic with machines. That's going to be interesting. It's going to open up a fascinating crossover and has so much potential. Expect more on Natalie. I just think she might be the center plot of whatever is driving Riri, and she has to come to terms with it. I don't know what's going on, though, at the end of the episode, which makes for a great episode. I'm getting WandaVision vibes because we didn't know, definitely not much at all like WandaVision, but we didn't know how the hell Wanda and Vision were even in this predicament. But there was a kind of a foreshadowing of there's more you will find out. That's how TV works. I'm sorry. All right, my final thoughts. Take Me Home lives up to its title emotionally, tonally, and literally. Riri is so likable, flawed, and determined, and completely her own hero. I'm in, fully. See you tomorrow for episode 2, 5 a.m. Will the Real Natalie Please Stand Up? Name of the show. The titles alone are killing it. I can't wait to talk to you again. I want to keep this as close to 15 minutes as possible so I don't waste your time. And join our Patreon, patreon.com/MarvelManiac. That's where we are assembling. That's where the Marvel Maniac community will stand. And you don't have to pay to become a member. You just have to pay to get the extra mini-sodes I release every Saturday. But come on, join us either way. Be a part of the community. And if you would like to tip the show, we have a tip jar in the About section as well. The link to the Patreon. Never expected, always appreciated. Until tomorrow on Will the Real Natalie Please Stand Up? Hope we hear the Eminem song in it. Avengers, disassemble.